This is a very serious story. Oddly predictable, though. So 1 in every 100 asylum seekers currently in migrant hotels have been charged with a crime. Hundreds of them have been charged with crimes such as rape, robbery and GBH. The Sun newspaper monitored courts across the country for the first 6 months of the year, and they noted the defendants who gave their addresses as one of the 105 known asylum hotels. But it does get worse, I'm afraid, because the true number of crimes could actually be much higher. Why? Well, the Home Office refuses to reveal the locations of every single migrant hotel. So if you take this to its logical conclusion, there are more criminals, aren't there? But just yesterday, at least 5 asylum seekers who had been staying at hotels appeared in court on charges including sexual assault, assault by beating and theft. So 5 yesterday alone. A Libyan asylum seeker living at a Home Office hotel yesterday admitted threatening a member of staff with a knife. In fact, the Thistle City Hotel in Barbican, which is in central London, this was the one that was revealed actually by The Sun as well as being a hotbed of illegal Deliveroo and Uber Eats drivers.
Asylum seekers are being offered Deliveroo and Just Eat accounts within 10 minutes of asking for them, as thousands work illegally for the apps across the country. We went undercover to expose how easy it is for illegal immigrants who have just arrived in the UK to join the massive black market economy. And at hotels in London and Bournemouth, we witnessed dozens of migrants in the full uniforms of Deliveroo and Just Eat, coming and going at all hours of the day.
32 men from that hotel have been up in court for offences including assault of an emergency worker and theft from a shop. How many migrants have come across the channel this year now? I think you might have heard it in the bulletins there. Have we got any guesses in the room?
23,000.
Straight away, that guy's got ears. Good stuff. 23,000. So, when we see things like this, now this was yesterday, I think, or the day before, and it's from the Calais area. So, the French, for all the talk, have decided to just give them life jackets. And then, actually, when we pick them up in the channel, the French ask for the life jackets back so that they can give it to more, which is bonkers, isn't it? But anyway, well done with the old negotiations there, Sir Keir. But I'm not saying that any of them specifically are criminals. Of course, we don't know, do we? However, just based on these numbers, statistically speaking, if you got another boatload of them, so 2 boats that size, at least one of them is going to end up in court. And how many of them have we got coming over each day? So how should the government react to these figures? I'll bring my panel in, but we've actually got a few people who want to ask questions on this. So if it's all right, I'll start straight away with this chap on the front row. What would you like to say, sir?
So I think it would be more fair to concentrate the housing of asylum seekers in areas where the people there support it the most. So, for example, could we just put them all in Lib Dem constituencies?
Yeah. I don't think that's a bad idea. I think you're spot on, mate. I think you're spot on. If you vote for it, you should get it. Surely that's the most direct form of democracy. That would be my view. Jonathan, what do you say?
So I totally empathise with that because Stoke-on-Trent, as I say, was a member of this voluntary asylum dispersal scheme. A Labour-led council under a Labour government signed us up and meant that we were taking over thousands of illegal migrants into our city because ultimately Stoke-on-Trent is cheaper on housing and therefore that was being picked up by the Stoke-on-Trent taxpayer. And actually it was legal action from the then Conservative-led City Council of Stoke-on-Trent that forced the then Conservative government's hand into saying every area should have to take their share, because it was only Glasgow in the whole of Scotland that was part of this voluntary scheme. And in fact, we had more in the entirety of Stoke than the entirety of Wales. It was absolutely absurd. Look, Patrick, I've said it before on other shows I've done with you. We have fighting age men between the age of 18 and 39. In fact, 74% of them were between 18 and 39 between 2018 and 2022, who are coming over into this country with their medieval attitude towards women and particularly towards children as well, and are coming in and raping our women, murdering people on the streets, working illegally, supplying the drug trade and the black market too. And it is extremely worrying and dangerous. And the fact that 34% of all convictions for sexual assaults are from foreign nationals when they make a representation of 11% of the population. We know Afghans and Eritreans are 20 times more likely to be convicted of sexual offences. And Baroness Casey's own report said that we are seeing more and more illegal migrants coming up in these child rape gangs that are being investigated. These buggers need to be detained. They need to be deported as immediately and as quickly as possible because they are a threat to our safety as a nation.
Well, it's got a round of applause. And it's not honestly what. Just before, I know you've not got the microphone, so I take it you don't currently live in a Lib Dem seat, then?
I do, actually.
Oh, it's all going your way, mate. It's all going your way. But that might be the downside of it, right? Which is that you'd end up with it. But go on, JJ, your views on this. So, what should the government be doing about it? Do you accept this chap's point here that maybe if you vote for it in your area, you should bear the brunt of it?
Like I said earlier, I don't understand why if someone commits a crime, they aren't instantly deported. It doesn't. If you come to this country, whether it's someone from Libya, you come here and you commit a heinous crime of rape or robbery, then, OK, you've gone to court, you've gone through our justice system, and we've deemed you not fit to be part of our society, you're going back to Libya. It doesn't matter if you think, if you're going to say to us, oh, but in Libya, because I'm a rapist, they're going to stone me. Well, that's the choice you made. They should be deported instantly. I can't understand why our government is incapable of doing it when so many other progressive countries in the world are doing exactly this.
All right. Before I bring in my other two, if that's OK, because I'm going to stick on the same topic, but I believe there is somebody else who's got a microphone now, I think. Yes, hello. What would you like to say?
Hello. Every morning I switch on GB News and I see the face of Mark White and it depresses me straight away.
Oh, not because of Mark White, because of the things he has to say.
Mark, brilliant reporter. But the trouble is, we've got these asylum seekers, migrants, whatever you want to call them. Most of them are coming across illegally. That's the word, illegally.
Yep.
At what point do we draw the line? And I'm looking at Barry on this one. Where do we draw the line and say no more? We've had enough. We don't know who we're invited in. We need to draw the line somewhere. At what point is that going to be?
Well, yeah, and I suppose in light of the facts that have come out today, the stats that have come out today of, roughly speaking, based on the Sun's analysis, that 1 in every 100 or so people currently in a migrant hotel is suspected of having committed a crime. That would be a good opportunity, Barry, would it not, for the Labour government to go, actually, national security, let's stop this madness?
Well, look, let's distinguish between guilty and suspicion, because the word suspicion could, maybe people in this audience are suspicious of how many, but it doesn't mean they have. But look, let's talk about addressing the issue. And, Jonathan gave a great pitch there, but he had 14 years to do something about it, and he did bugger all.
I think, I was one of those very few, Barry, who spoke up. But you know what, Barry, to back you up quickly on this, because it's a fair challenge, I deservedly had my backside handed to me at the last general election because my party I represented failed in its duty to actually get control of our borders. So rightly, I'm here as an ex-MP rather than an MP.
So now let's talk about what the government has been doing, right? The backlog in the courts, which is the reason that people are stacked up in hotels, because the courts can't process people through. We've addressed that, and we've now got 5 hotels already closed because we've actually managed to process so many more people through. The
backlog's still 90,000, Barry.
So the hotels are down. The illegal employment is being tackled because we're actually raiding places like that.
Not sharing where the migrant hotels are with Deliveroo, though, which would be the easiest way of doing it.
Well, there may be GDPR reasons why we can't do that.
That's a cop-out, Barry.
But the point is we are raiding those places to get the illegal working sorted out, and the returns have increased by 50%. Now,
voluntary.
Is it enough? No, not just.
Most of them are voluntary.
I'm sorry?
Most of them are voluntary.
If you're talking about the totality of returns, yes, but the actual enforced returns have increased by 50%. So we're actually addressing the issue in a whole series of ways, not just leaving the courts to block up so you can't do anything about it, because only if you've been through the courts can you then do what JJ suggested, and that is to be able to return the people who shouldn't be here.
For too long, Jane, people have, I think, been asked to ignore the bleeding obvious, which is what they feel a bit threatened at times when there's a big migrant hotel or something there, and then you get a lot of people piling in, with little placards saying that, you're a Nazi, if you think that there are criminals in there. And it turns out that actually, roughly speaking, according to The Sun, 1 in 100 people who are in those migrant hotels are suspected of being a criminal.
And it is a terrifying statistic. It really is. And I think people have had enough. I knew Labour would be really weak on this because smash the gangs means nothing. It doesn't mean reduce the crossings. It just means go after a few baddies, Clearly, in a year, it's up by 50% on last year. And I had my issue with the last government. I resigned over the Rwanda scheme. I wanted it to be much tougher. I want the whole asylum system completely ripped up and started again. Perhaps you won't be able to come from a developing country into a developed one, but you get to go to a third country that is safe. So we need to completely rewrite these things. But Labour came in, scrapped Rwanda before it was tested. It was deterring people. They crossed into the Republic of Ireland. You can go back and watch the news reports. The Bibi Stockholm barge closed.
Can I just
Barry,
ask you
it's
this?
getting worse. And you say hotel use is down. You have fewer hotels, but you have more people in bigger hotels. You're hoodwinking the British public.
No, not at all. Look,
there are more people in hotels than when you came to power.
the hoodwink is to say that the Rwanda scheme was or ever could have worked.
Why were people going into the Republic of Ireland,
And let me just explain why. And that is because the asylum seekers and the economic migrants can count. And they know that if you've paid £700 million for a scheme that is only going to be able to take 400 people...
It could have been expanded. Barry, that was the initial number, and it could have been expanded. There were other countries.
Well, thank God for 50 a week, eh? Return to France. That's going to do the square root of bugger all, isn't it? 50 a week back to France. That would take 7 months to clear the backlog of the last 7 days after the disaster.
There's a blow in the microphone again, sorry. You're looking a bit agitated there. You don't feel like you've had your question answered, is that right?
I didn't get my question answered.
Go on, remind us of it.
I said, Barry, you are the president of government. When are you going to draw the line and say no? Now, if you're not going to say no now, we've got another 4 years of this. How many more? Thousands are going to come across the channel. We have to say no and draw the line. We've got to draw the line now and stop them.
What would you do? Would you turn the boats back?
Get the Royal Navy out there. Push them back.
Right.
And the Royal Navy already said they won't do that. The Royal Navy have said they won't do it. So it's one thing you're saying, well, let's push the Navy out. The Navy said they won't do it. And it's rich for the tourists to sit up here after 14 years of ruining the country to now say it's increased.
In 2018.
Well, how's it increased? It's record levels. It's 23,000, JJ. That's a fact. That's a statement of fact. Let's not pretend that things got worse.
We have got radio listeners who are currently deaf, right? So if we could just keep it to a gentle
Home secretaries to Rwanda. So well done to you.
Well, who gave you that joke? Keir Starmer. Keir Starmer. Did you write his jokes to him? That would be a damn sight funnier than him making them. I'll tell you that. Like his joke deal with France that he did.
14 years of failure, and now you're pointing the finger at them. We didn't vote for you guys.
I know you did.
You got me to because
JJ, it has got 50%
Could I try and answer the gentleman's question?
That'd be nice.
Because he did ask me, and two things, sir. One is that you said these people are coming here illegally. We've defined it as we defined it as illegal.
It was already illegal.
Okay,
it was already illegal.
Right. So we've defined it in our law as being illegal, but under the 1951 Convention, it's not. Now, I agree with Jonathan that we need to... Yes, but the law still applies. And we need to change that, but we can only do that by international negotiation. Now, you asked, when are you going to draw the line? Okay? We are already, and that's why I gave you the answer that I did. This is the way in which we're tackling it, not in one thing alone, but trying to do a whole series of things together.
I just wonder why any of us bother showing our passports when we go on holiday anymore. If it's not, like, why bother?
Security at Heathrow and Gatwick. What's the point?
What's the point? Well, sorry, I just entered irregularly. That's all I did. I'm going to kick my way through the barriers at Heathrow, but it's an irregular entry. You know, I don't know. I find it all a bit annoying, that technicality. Sorry, Barry, I do find it. And we all know they're breaking into Britain. I mean, it's illegal, right? It is illegal.
Sorry, look,
it is illegal.
No, our law has made it illegal to come here in a small boat.
It was already illegal to enter the country.
If you were coming here as an asylum seeker, right, then you could come here by any means, and claim asylum. whether you were an asylum seeker or not did not depend on the mode of transport. And that's...
Barry, you've just created a safe and legal route from France. You've literally told people to come to northern France. But safe and legal routes means that you can have loads of people coming on their droves to France on the hope they might get through. And guess what? If they're told they can't come on the safe and legal route from France, they'll still pay the smuggler to come over because they know 96% of them are going to remain in this country. You've got open door policy to small boat migrants.
You seem to think that the louder you shout, the more correct your position is.
But Barry...
I'm just giving you facts, Barry. Stats and facts.
But Barry, Keir's latest scheme to get 50 people swapped.
Right, let me
if you have any connection with the UK, you are going to head to northern France. There's going to be a mad scramble over August and
We're
September.
massively pressed for time here, so
it's going to make it worse, Barry.
Very briefly, all I would say to you is this. It's a pilot scheme, but it is...
It will make it worse.
But it is absolutely significant in this respect. It is the first time that we have been able to have processing, not in the UK of asylum seekers, but outside in another country.
And then you'll take them in.
We'll have to wait and see how it works. Again, just to ground us in what that news was today, which is those stats, which is that roughly speaking, 1 in every 100 people in migrant hotels are accused, at least, of committing some kind of crime. You know, I just think that really should stick with people, because when people go out and say, like, oh, you know, everything's absolutely fine, oh, well, I don't really mind one of these areas. All right, OK, but what if that crime is committed against you or a loved one? Because statistically speaking, that could well happen. I think that will be a problem.